Hello, welcome to another video by Indicator Vault. And in this video today, we are going to go over the scientific scalper. You can see it right here in this upper panel. And what this does is it provides a two-part confirmation. So we can see here on the chart, we have these buy signals and sell signals, which correlate with these marks here inside the panel. And you can see the background here is blue, and that's a second confirmation for this indicator. And that is going to tell you the trend. It is identifying whether the trend is bullish, which would be blue right here. And for a bearish trend, we'll see the color red as the background. And we'll get into some examples of both cases. Obviously, we can see here with the blue background, it is telling us that the trend is bullish. And so when we see that, that is a filter to basically ignore the sell signals. You know, the signals will paint when certain price action and other criteria is met, but we are only taking the highest probability trades. And so we are only looking for the buy signals inside of a bullish trend, and of course vice versa, only looking for sell signals when the background is red, indicating a bearish trend. And so we're going to go over some examples, and we're going to start off here with another great confluence of just a simple, RSI indicator, another very popular one, and just looking for oversold and overbought areas. And of course, as we can see in this example, this was a downtrend, and I can tell you that the background was red throughout this price action until we had this signal paint. And of course, as it was red, we were ignoring this buy signal because we can see it did not work out. But until we saw this price action here, it then changed to blue, indicating a bullish trend is about to start. And of course, we can see a great move up here. And this is on the NASDAQ 5-minute chart. But look what also happened as we got the change to blue with the buy signal. We can see the RSI dipping below 30, indicating an oversold price. And so with those confirmations right there, that would have been enough to, then find an entry for a bullish price action movement, which we see, here moving up. And so that's just another, great one to, only take, that confirmation. Again, the two-part for the scientific scalper, and then something like an RSI or maybe even some other oscillator indicating oversold or overbought will work great. And so when those line up, as we see here, worked out perfectly. But I also want to point out as well, when we have a change in trend, again, as we can see this downtrend, it can be difficult many times to find the exact bottom. Actually, I personally don't trade to find the exact bottom, and many times I'll want to find the retracement, at least when spotting reversals. And so, let's say you didn't get in here, because again, we do see this wick down below, and so having a defined stop would have been a little bit tough. You could have found a low over here to the left. That would have made the most sense, in my opinion. But, once we see this price movement move up, that is definitely a sign of a bullish trend as well. So you have the blue background, and then even the price action is confirming it. And so healthy price action will always have a retracement. And one of the most popular ways to measure retracements is obviously the Fibonacci tool. So I'm going to go to that low and anchor it on this high. So we now have a defined price range. And of course, what do we see? Price perfectly bounces off of a 61.8 level as we get another buy signal while also in a bullish trend with the blue background. So now the RSI here doesn't dip below it, but that's okay because we've already had that confirmation here. And really, if it dipped below it, it may indicate a more downward movement. It actually is fine that it also had just a retracement, to probably about the 40. So we had our range created here, and closing in these gaps, confirming a bullish trend is about to start. So then we just wait for the retracement. I like to personally just use the 50% level to mark out premium and discount of the range. But of course, the most popular level, 61.8, again, as we see here, was perfectly tapped into, never even closed below it. And even on this second touch, we then get a confirmed buy signal, and then great movement up for this example on NASDAQ. And then here on this example, I'm on AMD 5-minute chart. And I've got another very common indicator on here as well, the parabolic SAR, support and resistance. And, this is great for identifying, small trends and small movements. And, so we have here the blue background indicating a bullish trend. So we are only looking for bullish trades to the upside, and only taking into account the blue buy signals. So if you don't want to use necessarily a certain retracement tool, to catch the retracements, or you want to try and get in early into the move, you could use a parabolic SAR and, wait for it to confirm with the dots, as we see here on this buy alert here. And a few candles later, we now have the parabolic telling us an uptrend, a small uptrend is starting. You can wait for the dots to start, showing before you enter in. And of course, we see here, this would have been catching very much near the bottom of this huge up move here. Just like the other example, this was a downtrend. And so the background was red during this time until here we had the movement up, changed to blue. And even this buy signal here, if I put a fib here, we can tell that it wouldn't have quite gotten to the equilibrium level or the discount level. Price action was strong enough to not quite retrace fully. But we see here another buy signal, and soon after, we have the parabolic giving us the yellow dots below, indicating the start of an uptrend. Of course, this low just wick below, but this low not taken. And again, here, another buy signal does dip below, but then what do we have here? Taking into account the parabolic SAR indicating an uptrend. And so we can actually also see these buy signals are actually early to the parabolic. And so that's just another confirmation I want to point out with an indicator like this, another very popular indicator that can work well with the scientific scalper. And then for our last example, I'm on the Google 5-minute, and I've got here a second indicator, another indicator vault one, the Master MACD. And of course, we can see here we have a red background indicating a bearish trend, which of course we can see here, the downward movement. I've only got the data series going back to here, but clearly this was moving into a downward movement. And just something that works well with this. And of course, this one paints its own buy signals as well, as we can see here. But one thing that I have found to work well with the Master MACD, along with the scientific scalper, looking for, so for this example, we've got this one. This is from the, lining up with here, the scientific scalper and then looking for a cross of the MAs in the master MACD. And so that happens just a couple candles, actually right here, after we have the scientific scalper indicating a sell. Of course, we see this great movement down. This is on the 5-minute. And then later on, we actually have another cross. We don't have a scientific scalper sell signal, but since the trend is still bearish, it's still red here, that could be a very confident re-entry as well right here. And before I move on, I did want to point out this example as well that coincides with it. Bearish trend, scientific scalper here. This bar here is lining up with this sell signal. And what do we have? Just 2 bars later, the MA's crossing in the master MACD, giving us another sell signal. So, even a great strategy would be, have a rule set of within 3, 4, maybe 5 candles, depending on your risk and, probability setup that you're comfortable with, seeing that cross along with a sell signal from the scientific scalper, can provide great entries. And of course, we see a retracement here. You could have gotten in here again, and a strong down move. Does retrace again, but never taking out this high. And then just a super strong move downwards on this day. Some multiple great entries, capturing all of this near the top here of this move, near the top here of this move, and then even another re-entry on this move down. And so this one works great with many other indicators for confirmations, because this one, for one, you don't need many other indicators as well. You just really need one, whatever you're comfortable with, because this one is already, like I said, providing the 2-part confirmation of identifying the trend already, filtering out the correct signals to look at, and then also providing the buy signals or sell signals correspondingly. So I hope this video was helpful, and until next time, best of luck trading.